Welcome to another edition of the CS Podcast presented by the NFL Draft Bible, NFLDraftBible.com. I'm your guys' host, Chris Shanafelt, and on today's show I'll be joined by Aaron Wilmer, one of the newest members of the CFL's BC Lions. I actually had him on the show a few months ago to talk about his spectacular college football career at Delaware Valley College. Very happy to see him that he's going to be getting a shot to play pro ball in the Canadian League. So Aaron Wilmer will join the show in just a moment, but later on I'll also be joined by Jovan Alford of TotalSportsLive.com. We'll be talking about some of the hottest topics in the NFL. Be sure to follow today's guests on Twitter at AaronWilmer_13, at Jovan10, and you guys can follow me on Twitter as well, at Chris Shanafelt. Also, be sure to check out this podcast as well as some of my other work at NFLDraftBible.com, YouTube.com/ChristianRE722, and ChristianShanafelt.wordpress.com. That's ChristianShanafelt.wordpress.com. Now, without further ado, here's my interview with Aaron Wilmer, quarterback of the BC Lions. You guys are listening to the CS Podcast presented by the NFL Draft Bible, NFLDraftBible.com. I'm your guys' host, Chris Shanafelt, and I'm now joined by one of the newest members of the CFL. He was a 4-year starter by way of Division III's Delaware Valley College, and now quarterback for the BC Lions. He's Aaron Wilmer. Welcome back to the show, Aaron. How's it feel to be a BC Lion?
Chris, just want to thank you for letting me be on the show, and congrats on getting your new position with the NFL Draft Bible. And it is awesome to be a part of the BC Lions. Like I said earlier, I can't wait to get things started, and I couldn't be with a better organization.
Hey, sounds great. Well, I definitely appreciate you joining the show, Aaron. Now, during your time at Delaware Valley, you became the 26th quarterback at any level of college, D1, D2, D3, whatever. You became the 26th quarterback to throw for over 10,000 yards and run for 1,000 yards. You definitely had a heck of a college career. You threw for 84 total touchdowns throughout those 4 years. And I've been in contact with you, throughout these last few months as you were getting ready to pursue a professional football career. Can you just take us through these last 5-6 months as you were, preparing to take the next step, and how did this opportunity to play for the BC Lions come up?
Well, first, it's been so much hard work, to get to this point. I mean, there were times where, I wasn't hearing any phone calls from any NFL teams, any CFL teams, and, you can get down on yourself. You can start doubting yourself and start thinking, is this really for me? But my persistence is just keep working out and staying ready and attending every workout that I was asked to attend via my agent. And, everything just came to fruition for me. And like I said, I couldn't be with a better organization, team that took a chance on me. I'm definitely going to, make sure that, I do everything in my power to keep my role on the team and help the team win in any way possible. But these last 5 to 6 months, man, it's been tough. There's been a lot of ups and downs. Luckily, so far, towards the tail end of it, it's been nothing but ups. And once I get to camp and I show these guys what I can do, they'll be happy with the selection they made and bringing me in.
Oh, man, I'm definitely confident about that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't watched a ton of CFL football. That's definitely going to change this year, though, that's for sure. What do you think will be the biggest difference between the CFL and the NFL, and what do you anticipate will be the hardest part about making the transition from the college game to the pros in the Canadian League?
Well, yeah, so it is a different game. There's 12 people on the field. There's the field's longer and wider. The end zones are bigger. So there's going to be a lot of adapting to do, but that's what you got to do in order to even make it to the NFL. You're going to have to adapt to your surroundings. So I would say the biggest difference, though, would just be maybe the kind of defenses that a team can play with an additional defender on the field. That could definitely mix things up for a quarterback that's coming from the American game to the CFL game. So that'll definitely be one, but that'll all come to me with due diligence and making sure I put in the time in the film room. And you learn by what you do in the field too. So I got to make sure I watch what the other guys are doing and capitalize on their mistakes. So this way, when it's my turn to go, when it's my rep, I don't make that same mistake, and the coaches can see that I'm a quick learner. But as far as the CFL, it's definitely a little bit different than the NFL in terms of the talent-wise. Not much. I mean, you see the CFL rosters are riddled with former NFL guys, so the talent level is there, but the talent level is a little dropped. But I'm just happy to be competing. I'm just happy to be with the BC Lions.
Absolutely. And, of course, you always see guys from the CFL make the jump up to the NFL. And actually, that's actually going to lead me to my next question. I know you don't want to look too far ahead, and I know you're grateful for this opportunity in the CFL with the BC Lions. But is the ultimate goal to someday play in the NFL?
You know, Chris, I don't know. I mean, people have been asking me, and, you know, right now, I just want to think about what's going on right now, which is trying to, you know, make this roster and help this team out in any way possible. Just getting up to BC and you know, enjoying what I got going on up there. But you never want to say never. Anything can happen. So we'll see what happens in the future. But right now, I just want to think about what's going on, you know, in these next couple of weeks, about going to camp and, you know, learning the playbook and learning the nuances of the CFL game. So, but the NFL, obviously, you know, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to play in the NFL. Every football player does. So, but we'll see what happens. You know, I don't want to make any decisions just yet.
Right on. Well, I know that you participated in NFL Regional Combine, the Villanova Pro Day, and you even worked out for your hometown Philadelphia Eagles. What was some of the feedback that you received from scouts, coaches, etc. after those events?
Well, I would say after my pro day, that's when things really started picking up with the NFL and the CFL teams. And then once I had the Eagles workout, and then I got praise from Chip Kelly, Pat Shermer, the quarterback coach Ryan Day, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, these guys talked to a lot of people about me, and the word got out there that somebody should take a chance on me, and the BC Lions did. The BC Lions were actually the first CFL team to contact me. I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks after the season. They sent me an email asking for, you know, my huddle ID so they can watch more film. And then Calgary, and then Edmonton, and then Winnipeg. So once all those teams started jumping on board, things started steamrolling. And BC Lions, they were the first team to offer me a contract, and I just showed respect to them by accepting it, and we're going to see how things go, man.
Now, obviously, you know, it's going to be said they're going to say you're undersized. You know, they look. I see your school website has you at about 5'11", 195 pounds, I believe. And I got to say, you know, when you sent me your highlight film, man, I'll never forget it. I mean, I was totally blown away. You have a heck of an arm. I was very impressed, I got to say. What do you say to those who kind of just pass you by once they see your height and weight?
Well, you know, Chris, it's been something I've been having to deal with ever since high school, man. And once I got to college, it was the same thing. And at every level, I've always been a winner. I've always proven people wrong. I've always been successful in the field. So they can say whatever they want. You know, success is how you get back at people that doubt you. And I'm just really looking forward to getting out there and competing, and definitely showing all the naysayers that you know, I can play at this level, and I'm a professional athlete for that reason. So, you know, haters are haters, man, and naysayers, they fuel my success. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well, again, you know, you're the 26th quarterback in all of college football to throw for over 10,000 yards and run for another 1,000. So, like you said, man, I mean, you've had success wherever you've gone. Once again, one of the newest members of the BC Lions, quarterback Aaron Wilmer, joining the CS podcast, presented to you guys by the NFL Draft Bible, NFLDraftBible.com. And, Aaron, you head out to Canada in just a few days on the 23rd. How excited are you to head out there?
I actually just got my flight information. I'm so excited to head out, man, and I'm pretty sure you and I will talk again. Sure, you know, text or through Twitter, and you'll keep up to date with me. So I'm real excited, man. Like I said, I wish I was leaving today, honestly.
Hey, definitely great to hear. Now, for those who don't know, when they turn on your highlight tape, I mean, what do you think will stand out to them the most? I mean, what do you feel is your biggest strength as a quarterback for those who may not know you too well?
Well, it's tough to evaluate. I mean, obviously, you know, you evaluate film. It's tough to evaluate just off of the highlight tape. But if you were just looking at the highlight tape, I think some of the key things you would see is my athletic ability, my arm strength, my ball placement, my quick release. Those are some of the, I would say, key factors that you could just obviously see on the highlight tape. But if you look at the actual film, then you can get into you know, the reads that I make, and you know, looking off safeties or looking off defenders and making the right decision at the right time, knowing when to take off, knowing when to stay in the pocket. Things like that you'll be able to see once you actually, you know, throw in the actual game tape. But I'm sure there's been a lot of people that have checked out the highlight tape since I got signed. So I know they're excited. The fan base of BC, they've been all, you know, hitting me up on Twitter and you know, telling me welcome to BC. So I can't wait to get started, man.
And they should definitely be excited, that's for sure. Now, your number one target at Delaware Valley, 6'2" wide receiver Rasheed Bailey. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles shortly after the draft ended as an undrafted rookie free agent. What do you think about him getting an opportunity there with the hometown team?
It is so awesome, man. I mean, I know the type of hard work that Rasheed put in. I was there for all 4 years with him, and I know the type of kid he is. He's an awesome guy. You're not going to be able to outwork him. He's the type of guy that's going to go into camp with the Eagles, and they won't be able to cut him. He's the guy they won't be able to cut him. Just the way he works, his athletic ability. He's got awesome hands. He has an okay body, about 6'2", maybe 205. But he's a football player, man. He's going to make it. He's definitely going to make the team, and I'm just happy to say I played with him. And I'm pretty sure we'll meet up in the off season to work out.
Hey, well, like I told you before we started this interview, Aaron, I mean, you guys are definitely representing the Delaware Valley Aggies football team very well. Of course, you with the BC Lions and now Rasheed Bailey with the Philadelphia Eagles. And actually, that's all I have for you, Aaron. Once again, congrats on signing with the BC Lions. Of course, safe travels when you head out there on the 23rd. And, yeah, man, just be sure to keep in touch and let us know how everything is going out there, all right?
You got it, Chris. Thanks for everything you've done for me, man. I can't thank you enough. You're one of the first guys to give me a legit interview, so I'm definitely going to remember that. And like I said, we'll be in contact. So just you got my number, I got yours. We'll keep in touch. All right.
Hey, sounds good to me, Aaron. Thanks again, and take care. All right, man.
You got it. Thanks, Chris.
There he goes, one of the newest members of the BC Lions out of Delaware Valley College, quarterback Aaron Wilmer, one of the most humble guys you'll run into, so I'm very happy and excited to see him get his shot and make the most of his opportunity in the CFL. Up next, I'll be joined by Jovan Alford of Total Sports Live. We'll be talking about Ryan Tannehill's new contract extension, all of the turnover that's going on in San Francisco with Justin Smith officially announcing his retirement, and Odell Beckham Jr.'s comments about how he thinks that NFL players should get paid more money. So with that being said, here's my interview with Jovan Alford. Welcome back to the CS Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Shanafelt, and it's a pleasure to welcome back to the show Jovan Alford of Total Sports Live. Check out his work at TotalSportsLive.com. Does some great work over there. And, of course, with draft season ending, throughout the draft season, he was doing a ton of interviews over there as well, and at BlogTalkRadio.com. Like I said, great work. Check it out, TotalSportsLive.com. He's Jovan Alford. Jovan, thanks so much for taking some time to chat today, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going good. I'm glad to be back on the show. Last time we talked, it was the Sunday after the draft, so it's been had some time to rest and relax, and just take a step back from everything. But I'm glad to be back on.
Hey, man, it's definitely a pleasure to have you back on. Now, Jovan, I know you're in the Philadelphia area. Any chance you're familiar with our last guest, Aaron Wilmer of Delaware Valley College, who just signed with the BC Lions in the CFL, and or his teammate, wide receiver Rasheed Bailey, who signed with the Eagles as an undrafted free agent?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, know a little bit about him. I mean, I wasn't really hip to him until I listened to your podcast with him, but then I listened to your podcast that you did with those guys earlier this draft season, and then having the chance to sit back and watch the film, they're two great guys, explosive, and I think what Aaron Wilmer said in his interview with KYW 1060, him and Rasheed, they kind of put DVC on the map, in terms of showing the NFL and the CFL that they got talent up there. Both guys are going to do tremendous things with their respective teams. I mean, Rasheed Bailey's with the Eagles, so we'll see what he does. I mean, Chip Taylor's wide receiver, and he has the height and the weight and the skill set to do good things here, and I definitely think he'll be able to compete for a roster spot with these. And I think Aaron Wilmer, he's going to do tremendous things too in DC with the Lions, British Columbia Lions. I think he's going to do great things with them, and I think there's no doubt why he should be able to compete for a starting job up there. I mean, in the CFL, he has the talent. He might not have the height the height right now for NFL, but his skill set, the way he can throw the ball, his mobility works, especially with the CFL. How long it is. I think both of them are going to do pretty well in their respective leagues.
I totally agree with you. And like you said, I mean, representing Delaware Valley College, definitely putting them on the map. Now, moving on a little bit, usually around this time of the year, Jovan, we a couple of weeks after the draft, there isn't much to talk about when it comes to the NFL, but that's not really the case this year with, of course, Deflategate. I'll tell you what, I'm so tired of hearing about that crap. I don't even know if I want to touch on that today, to be honest with you. But staying in the AFC East, yesterday the Miami Dolphins signed quarterback Ryan Tannehill to a contract extension worth $96 million, $45 million guaranteed, and the contract runs through 2020. I personally think it's a pretty solid deal, especially when you break it down. I see that he'll be making about $21.5 million throughout the first 2 years, $39.5 million throughout the first 3 years of that deal. And when you look at some of the quarterbacks starting around the league, I mean, I'm sure Buffalo, Houston, Cleveland, and I mean, probably even the Jets. I'm sure all of those teams, I'm sure there's even more teams that would not mind having Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback. I'm fine with Tannehill getting this deal. I've seen some people on Twitter that weren't very happy after seeing this deal, but me personally, I'm fine with it. What about you? How do you feel about Ryan Tannehill getting this $96 million contract, $45 million guaranteed?
I don't see nothing wrong with it. I mean, before Ryan Tannehill, the Dolphins really had stability at quarterback. I mean, you could go back to Chad Pennington at quarterback for the Dolphins, Cleo Lemon, I mean, AJ Philly. I mean, there really was no stability there. He brings stability. The guy has pretty much progressed throughout his year there. You want to see a quarterback progress from his rookie year, and he's done everything that you need him to do. I mean, in his early part of his career, he didn't have the weapons per se to get the job done. And now, Joe Philbin and those guys, they're putting the pieces around him. He has Bill Lazor, who was here with the Eagles when Bill Lazor was doing work with Nick Foles and getting him ready. And in that offense, and now he has Lazor down there. This is going to be, I think, year 2 with Lazor. So that you're seeing him work doing much better. Now you got Jarvis Landry, who they had last year. Now you add Jordan Cameron, and Devontae Parker in the draft. I mean, you still got Lamar Miller as your running back. I mean, they're doing a pretty solid job down there on offense and giving him the weapons. So, I mean, Dolphins fans, if you're not happy with this, I don't know what else you expect. I mean, the guys have been doing what you need them to do. I think this year, if you want to say if you're a Dolphins fan and you want to say that this team should make the playoffs next year, then that's warranted. You want to see them take that next step. And I think for Tannehill now, since he's got that extension, he now has to go out and prove to the fans that are probably doubting him. And then naysayers, he got to go out and prove and say, we're going to put the team and take the team to the playoffs. It doesn't have to win the division. I mean, you don't have to do that, but they can get a wild card or whatever. That's fine, too. So I like the extension. I don't see no problem with it because you need a franchise quarterback in today's NFL. You can't have a rotating door or a QB carousel these days. It doesn't work.
You're right about that. And like you said, you have to surround this guy around with a lot of talent. And, of course, we've seen, last year Mike Wallace, they had Charles Clay, who had a pretty big year. Jarvis Landry had a very nice rookie year as well. Of course, getting rid of Mike Wallace and Charles Clay, they're able to replace those guys with a Devontae Parker in the draft, even Greg Jennings in free agency, who it could be a pretty nice signing. I mean, you're not really asking Jennings to be the number one guy like they were asking him in Minnesota. So I actually think that's a pretty solid signing, bringing him to Miami. You mentioned Jordan Cameron, who I personally think is an upgrade over Charles Clay, just as long as he could stay healthy. I mean, they're surrounding Tannehill with some pretty solid talent. Not to mention they have a heck of a defense that just added Ndamukong Suh to that defensive line. I mean, this could be a team to look out for in the AFC, in my opinion, especially if Tom Brady's suspension holds up.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I totally forgot about Ndamukong Suh. I don't know how I forgot about that. I think because that just happened so early in free agency, it just kind of skipped my mind. But, yeah, you're right. You got Ndamukong Suh on that line. Also with Cameron Wake, too. That's just a monstrous defensive line. Like you said, depending on how long Brady's spending for, Brady's spending for 4 games, that's perfect, ample time for the Dolphins to say, we need to get out the gate fast and, pick up as many wins as we can because that's the tone setter. You need to start out good in the regular season. They can do that. And like I said, they got the pieces to do it on offense and defense. I mean, this is the time for Dolphins to take that next step. They haven't had a winner there in a while, Tannehill's the franchise guy, so it's about time they need to start to step it up, and they got the pieces to do it. So it's put up or shut up now.
And over the last couple of years, we've been talking about how great that NFC West division is. I honestly think, at least on paper, the AFC East might be the best division in the NFL, at least right now on paper. So much talent. You probably have four of the top – well, no, you definitely have four of the top defenses or at least three of the top defenses in that division alone. Not exactly sure how New England's defense is going to look this year with, of course, losing Darrelle Revis, Brandon Brown, they've taken some hits on that defense this season. Vince Wilfork. But definitely going to be interesting to see what goes on in the AFC East. Buffalo has a lot of talent minus their quarterback situation. I don't know what they're going to do about that. Of course, the Jets have added so much talent on both sides of the ball. Their quarterback situation is another question mark. But, I think in the end, going back to the main topic, I think the Dolphins did a good job by locking up Ryan Tannehill, especially now he isn't no Russell Wilson, he isn't no Andrew Luck, but I think it might have been a smart move for Miami to get the Tannehill deal done before those guys, because who knows, Luck getting I'm just going to throw out a random number, $140 million contract, $130 million contract. That might have upped the price for Tannehill and his agent a little bit as well,
Yeah, without a doubt. These quarterbacks, just like in any sport, any player, they see what the market value is, and they're saying, well, we need to match that. Especially in quarterbacks, we've seen what Andy Dalton has gotten. We've seen what Colin Kaepernick has gotten. And Jay Cutler has gotten. So these quarterbacks are sitting around and saying, well, if this what they're getting, I think I should deserve that a little bit more based on what I've done in my production. So it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Now, moving on, some other news broke yesterday as well. Well, I'm not sure if you would really call it breaking news. It was kind of expected. 49ers defensive lineman Justin Smith officially announced his retirement. Like I said, not a huge surprise. We've been hearing about this possibility since Patrick Willis retired, and San Francisco did draft Eric Armstead in the first round. Not sure if he's really going to be able to replace Smith. It's going to be tough to replace Justin Smith, with whoever. This has been an off season from hell for the 49ers, man. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like this. They lose their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, their offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, their defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and they went on to lose a handful of key players, including Patrick Willis, Chris Borland, Justin Smith, Mike Upati, Frank Gore, Michael Crabtree, Chris Culver, Parrish Cox. You could go on and on. And I know that we're going to, they were able to add a few nice pieces in Torrey Smith, Reggie Bush, Darnell Dockett, although he's coming off of an ACL injury. It's not going to be easy to replace not only just the talent that they're losing, but this veteran leadership as well. It looks like it's going to be another down year for San Francisco. Maybe even worse than a 7-9, 8-8 record that they finished with last year, don't you think?
Yeah, it's just, football is just one of those sports where you really can't have a lot of turnover. You want to keep the core together, and it's just the San Francisco 49ers. They have just so much turnover that happened, starting off with head coach. We all knew that was going to happen, but you didn't know who was going to be head coach, and Tom Stewart takes over. Then you lose Frank Gore, so now you lose one of the most productive backs in the NFL. You lose him. Crabtree is going, you play some Torrey Smith, okay. But then the defense, which has been a staple of this team, the defense that has helped this team get to a couple of NFC championship games and a Super Bowl, they don't have those guys anymore. There's no more Pat Willis. There's no more Chris Borland. There's, like you said, Parrish Cox, Chris Culver. They're getting the ball Bowman coming back. We know how healthy he's going to be. There's so much turnover that's happened with that team. I don't know how fans can expect them to, make a playoff push. If they do, that'd be great. But like I said, there's so much turnover. You possibly could expect 6-10, maybe. I don't want to say 5-11 because that would just be heartbreaking. But especially with the division they play in, the NFC West is tough. The Seahawks are still there. The Cardinals are still there, and the St. Louis Rams are fast, are coming fast. So, the San Francisco 49ers are really that team that could be that fourth team just by, the other teams just looking and adding so much talent and depth to the rosters.
Yeah, Totally agree with you, Jovan. And, another name that, was a pretty big piece of that defense. He missed most of last year, though. Ray McDonald, he's now here in Chicago with the Bears with Vic Fangio. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Seeing Patrick Willis retire, that was definitely a surprising move right there. Like I said, the Justin Smith move is kind of expected. I mean, he had a great, long 14-year career. This was a possibility, over the last few months anyway, that he would be retiring. Do you think that having any of these players retire or, sign with another team through free agency, do you think that some of this might be because of all the turnover, losing their head coach, offensive and defensive coordinator? I mean, do you think that has any role in any of this?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because, like you said, you lose, like you said, they lost so many pieces. Ray McDonald's gone. Vic Fangio's going. So, now you lose somebody that, that was that defense, and like you said, Justin Smith was kind of, expected because, like you said, he's been in the league for so long. But Pat Willis, I think that had to hurt and was the biggest blow because it's just like, this dude was the heart and soul of his defense. I don't want to say this comparison because people might blast me for this because, I don't want to say he was the Ray Lewis of that team, but you get what I'm saying when I say that. He's the heart and soul. He gets the guys going. He keeps them going. So, they're going to have to find somebody to replace that. I don't think you can replace the Patrick Willis,
Well, honestly, Jovan, I think they were expecting to, this move came out of nowhere. They find this rookie third round in Chris Borland. I think, after this news came out, I think they were expecting him to be the replacement. And then I don't even think it was a week after. It may have been a week after. And then you hear Chris Borland retires. So, just a major blow to the team.
Yeah, Borland was unexpected because, like we said, I think he was a rookie last year, so he was having off of a fantastic rookie season, and just like we're going to nail him, we're going to push him in. If Pat Willis retires, then we're going to push him right in. He's going to take over at that spot, and then that happens. So then you're just like, whoa, like the linebacking core just takes a complete drop, and Borland retires because they're just concussion things, and he's 24, so he's thinking about football after, he's thinking about life after football, and you got to respect him for that. But like you said, it takes a toll. It's going to take a toll on the defense, and somebody's going to have to be that new voice. Who knows who that's going to be, but somebody has to do it.
And you mentioned, of course, Navarro Bowman coming back from injury, missed all of last season with that ACL injury that he suffered, not last season, but the season before in the NFC Championship game against the Seattle Seahawks. Brutal injury right there. I'll tell you what, I certainly hope he could come back full strength and be the same player that we seen him, just a couple of years ago, because honestly, as good as Patrick Willis was, and I'll tell you what, I respect the hell out of Patrick Willis. He's probably one of my favorite linebackers in NFL history. Being a Chicago Bears fan, we have so many here, but Patrick Willis definitely knew how to play the game. I'll tell you what, even though he only had an 8-9 year career, I think he should still be a Hall of Famer because I think, he was the best linebacker, for quite a few years while he was playing. And like I said, kind of a short career, especially for a star player like Patrick Willis. But Navarro Bowman, the year he got hurt, I think he was turning into a better linebacker than Patrick Willis, in my opinion. I don't know, I can't really tell you exactly how or why. It just seemed like he had more of an impact on the game than Patrick Willis. And then, of course, Patrick Willis was starting to run into injuries at that time.
Yep. No, definitely agree with you about that. Bowman, I don't want to say Patrick Willis, how we see in sports, guys that just hit he hit that peak real early and fast.
Yep.
I think that's what happened to Patrick Willis, like you said, just running into nagging injuries, and Bowman just seemed like he just hasn't hit that peak yet. He's on the rise still, but it just seems like you said, Pat Willis just hit a lot of nagging injuries, so it's just like it slowed him down a lot.
Yep, very well said. Very, very well said right there, my friend. Now moving on, in a recent interview, Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., he just won the Madden cover voting, whatever you want to call it. He'll be on the new Madden 16 cover. He said that he thinks NFL players should be paid more. Now, I'll let you take this one over first, Jovan. Any thoughts on that statement from somebody that, if I'm not mistaken, he signed a rookie contract that guarantees him $10.4 million a year? I'm sorry, $10.4 million over the 4-year contract. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's that's something to think about. I mean, I understand what he's saying because we've seen like just past couple of years with the concussions and that whole issue going on. But like you said, you're getting paid as a rookie $10.4 million, and then I'm pretty sure when your rookie deal's up, you're going to get if you keep with the production that you're doing, if you're an OBJ, then you're going to get a bigger contract than what you made as a rookie. So we're thinking probably he's going to get paid. Let's just say that. So I understand what he's saying about that, but at the same time, like, are you saying it because are you saying about yourself, or are you looking out for the little guy who's not making so much? He's making the minimum deal. He's only making $1 million here. He's only making $2 million here. He's making less than $1 million. I understand when you're saying that. At the same time, like, if you're saying that football players should get paid more, then other sports are going to say that we should get paid more. Hockey players are going to say we should get paid more. And it's just going to be a domino effect. And the CFL players are going to say they want to get paid more, and the AFL players are definitely going to say they want to get paid more. So it's a domino effect, in my opinion.
I think that. You hear this statement, and I mean, for me at least, it was like, oh, this is just ridiculous. Come on now. I mean, He just signed a $10.4 million contract. It's his rookie deal too. Pretty nice deal right there. I know he was a first-round pick, and this isn't even counting, all the sponsorship deals that he'll be signing, especially for Odell Beckham Jr. That catch. I mean, it's going to do him well for quite a long time. Just with sponsorships alone. But I think that, I kind of sat down and thought about it for a little bit. I do find it a little odd that, I think that NFL players, I mean, they get paid less than, the MLB, NBA, and this is more of a physical sport, so I do kind of see where he's coming when it comes to that. And then you hear about all these stories about, the Junior Seau's, or, just this past week we had Adrian Robinson. We're not exactly sure, if it was what CTE related or anything like that, but it was a suicide. Very sad to hear about that. But we hear about all these sad stories coming from former or even current football players that are just dealing with all these nagging injuries that occurred during their playing days. So when it comes to that, I do think that they should be compensated a little bit more, or maybe have some type of insurance after football. I'm not exactly sure if they do, but at that, kind of looking at that, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe Odell Beckham has a point, but I'm just not sure if he's. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard to speak on, what exactly he was thinking at the time. But I don't exactly know if he was thinking, life after football, or just the right then and now.
Right. No, I definitely agree with you about that. I think that's the one thing I get people want to get clarified. Are you talking about the narrative, talking about life after football? Because if we're talking life after football, then most definitely, just like you said, with Junior Seau, you said Adrian Robinson. We don't know yet, but that's what it looks like. And then Andre Waters, a former Eagles safety. I mean, the line just goes on. And I'm probably one of the biggest opponents of concussions because I've done so many reports at school about concussions, especially about football and stuff like that. So if you're talking about life after football, then most definitely. But if you're talking about the here and now, you guys are already getting paid a lot here and now. Don't see endorsements and all that good stuff. I don't know about here and now, but like you said, when it comes to life after football with concussions, then most definitely something needs to be done.
All right, Jovan, last topic I have for you. One of your favorite quarterbacks in this year's draft class. I'm a fan of the guy as well. Quarterback out of South Alabama, Brandon Bridge, was drafted by the Montreal Alouettes in the 4th round of the CFL draft after participating in the Dallas Cowboys rookie minicamp. I personally think it's a smart move for Bridge to make this jump over to the CFL, and that is indeed what he will be doing. Getting some experience in the Canadian League, and who knows, he may be a guy that we see, make the jump from the CFL to the NFL in a few years. But like I said, I think this will only do good for Bridges' game. What do you think about him taking his talents to the CFL with the Montreal Alouettes?
I think, like you said, it's a great opportunity for him because unlike if he stayed in NFL, no disrespect to him, he wouldn't be a starter right away. I mean, he would probably be a team third string on the practice squad. And, there's only so much reps you can get at a practice squad that's not game speed. Now he has a chance to go in the CFL where he's going to be able to compete for a spot. On that roster, they already have NFL. They have an NFL player that played in the NFL at quarterback, and Dan Lefevre, who did set records at Central Michigan. John Skelton, who was last playing with the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, or somebody else, but I'm not sure. And then they just signed Rakeem Cato, as you told me a couple of days ago. So I mean, he's going to have the competition there, and he's going to be able to compete for a starting job there. And then just how like you said, he'll be able to make the jump probably in the next few years because, well, a lot of people don't know about the Hollow West, but they got talent on offense. I mean, they still got Chad Johnson there, and then they have S.J. Green at wide receiver. So I mean, they have the talent there, and he's going to be able to develop his game. I think he's going to be learning under Anthony Taglialo, who is probably one of the best quarterbacks in CFL history, so he gets to learn after him. So, I mean, I think it's a win-win deal for Brandon Bridge, and I think that if he does well and, can follow and do well, follow direction and, take the bull by the horns, I mean, the sky's the limit for him to come back into the NFL because he does have NFL talent, and I think you and me were probably surprised when he did not get drafted, at least in day 3. Probably that was really shocking.
Yeah, for sure. I at least thought, at least at some point in the 7th round. I mean, he's definitely a project. He has the arm strength. Probably has the strongest arm that out of all the quarterbacks that were in this year's draft. But the accuracy, the footwork, he has a lot to work on. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I didn't even put the two together that Brandon Bridge and Rakeem Cato are going to be going at it in camp. I mean, that would be something to watch right there. I mean, both guys. I think their games fit very well in the CFL. I'm not exactly sure about Rakeem Cato having an NFL future. Obviously, we just said Brandon Bridge. It's a possibility, but man, I would love to be there in camp watching. Like you said, Dan Lefevre, John Skelton, Brandon Bridge, and Rakeem Cato. I mean, that would be a heck of a competition right there.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's competition right there, and competition brings out the best. And as I said, when you get to see, especially with around those guys that can just sling the ball and, that can put it up there, I mean, it's a perfect fit for Bridge, the field, the gameplay. I think it's perfect for him to be able to learn a little bit. Because like you said, his footwork, he's a raw prospect. He got an arm. Like, nobody's not questioning that. You can get the ball down the field with a flick of the wrist with no problem. But like you said, he's still a raw project. And I think that he's going to be able to, get that chance to do in the CFL to develop his game to the next level.
And as we know, Jovan, it's so easy to fall in love with arm strength. I mean, Jamarcus Russell is the perfect example of that.
Right, definitely is.
Well, hey, Jovan, I got to say, as always, it's a pleasure chatting with you, man. I appreciate you taking some time to join the CS podcast today. We're definitely going to have to do this again soon. Before I let you go, why don't you tell our listeners where we could check out your great work at?
Yeah, pretty much you can check out all my work pretty much on TotalSportsLive.com as part of the Blogger Network, so you can check it out there. The site pretty much covers everything in Philadelphia sports and a little bit of national stuff here and there. So, I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. But you can also follow me on Twitter at Jovan10, that's JOVAN10. You can find me on there. I'll be talking about a lot of things on sports. You might see me write for other sites here and there, giving my thoughts on things. You can follow that, and also can follow Total Sports Live on Twitter. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much where you can find everything at.
Hey, sounds good. Once again, at Jovan10 at Jovan10 on Twitter, at Total Sports Live on Twitter and TotalSportsLive.com. Like I said, you're doing great work over there, Jovan. I appreciate you taking some time to chat today. And like I said, we're definitely going to have to do this again down the line, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks again for having me on, Chris.
And that'll do it for today's show. Hope you all enjoyed. Special thanks to BC Lions quarterback Aaron Wilmer and Jovan Alford of Total Sports Live for joining the show. Had a blast, as always. Again, you guys could give him a follow on Twitter at Aaron Wilmer _13 and at Jovan10. Also, be sure to check out Jovan's work at TotalSportsLive.com. You guys can follow me on Twitter as well at Chris Shanafelt, and check out the CS podcast at NFLDraftBible.com. Doing some great work over there, as well as my own little personal blog at www.christianshanafelt.wordpress.com. Thanks for tuning in to today's show again, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, take care.